Jesus speaks these words at his moment of ultimate humanness. He has been betrayed by Peter. The other disciples have left him. He no longer remembers that he is the beloved Son of God. He is a man in deep suffering, a man alone, a man abandoned, a man doubting God's presence, a man who has forgotten God's love. He cries out to God that in his despair, he cannot feel or experience God's love. He cries out in a loud voice, my God, why have you forsaken me?" Those words of Jesus echo through my soul. The image of him dying on the cross etched in my mind. But I realize that his voice and his image are there not because I was present at his crucifixion then, but I am hearing his torment, seeing his crucifixion over and over again in my ministry and in my life. I heard his voice raised in a fist-shaking outrage from the teens at Parkland who watched their friends die in a hail of gunfire. Why, God? Why did my friends have to die? I see his anguish in the parents and friends of the 26,000 children and teens who have been killed by gun violence since Columbine. I see it in their tears as parents. They bury child after child after child. I see his suffering in the tears of the Colorado mother and father whose 5 young daughters are facing horrible, painful, debilitating early deaths from a rare genetic disorder. His cry of abandonment echoes in the screams of incest and rape survivors. Where were you, God? Where were you when it was happening? I find his hopelessness in the wasted eyes of the starving children of famine and war waiting patiently for death. And I feel his despair in my own heart as I watch the news and see the depth of evil that moves in human souls. Each person here has seen Jesus' despair, personally, or in a friend's experience, or on the front page of the paper, or on the evening news. 2,000 years later, Jesus cries out again and again and again, my God, why have you forsaken me?" And I realize that these words of Jesus are the words of all who are suffering, all who have suffered, all who will suffer. And their words are his words. He is there with them, suffering in their pain today. The pain that we and they share with Christ is the pain of a human mind faced with suffering beyond comprehension, beyond belief, beyond endurance. The pain of Jesus is the anguish of abandonment, the disbelief of the unimaginable, the panic of helplessness, the torment of despair. Because when one is frozen in suffering at that moment, all that life holds is pain. The pain of the cross. The pain that we and they share with Jesus Christ. The reality of the crucifixion for me is that Jesus Christ died on the cross in our pain, for our pain, and with our pain. And every moment that we suffer a crucifixion experience, we are sharing that cross with Jesus. There's another image that I carry in my mind today, and that's the image of those women, Jesus' mother and her friends. Out of the depths of their love for him, they ignored their own danger and huddled at the foot of the cross to be close to him, weeping for him, weeping with him. I realized from his cry on the cross that at that moment, in his despair, he wasn't aware of their presence, kneeling in prayer there for him. He felt totally abandoned when he said, my God, why have you forsaken me?" Today also, Jesus in that each of us does not suffer alone. But the face of Jesus' mother and friends become the faces of relief workers ministering to starving orphans. They become therapists and counselors helping the survivors of violence and the victims' families to heal. More than 187 students have been exposed to gun violence at their school since Columbine. 187,000. So these are the friends and neighbors of those students who surround them, who sorrow with tears and love and caring. They're all of us who watch the horrors on the news and weep for the dying of another generation again and again and again. When each of us face times of despair and doubt within our own life, or through the suffering of others, when we echo Jesus' words, my God, why have you forsaken me? When God's light seems extinguished for us, the cross reminds us that we are not alone, that Jesus walks with us into that darkness and stays with us in that darkness. When we weep, we do not weep alone. Jesus' tears mingle with ours. And when we hear the roar of evil in our heart and rage at God, Jesus knows that sound and feels the wind in his face too. At those times, if you forget, someone must remind me, someone must remind you that Jesus is with us, that there are others at the foot of our cross weeping with us. Those that Jesus sends to embody himself with us are there to pray with us. And when we are mute, they will raise their voices to God for us. The message God gives in the gospel of this day is there is no horror in life that Jesus has not faced. There is no suffering that Jesus does not know. No matter how alone we might feel, Jesus Christ is with us. The simplest statement of this faith came up from a 50-year-old woman who had just been diagnosed with early onset Alzheimer's. As she faced her crumbling future, she said, "As I face this darkness, I know I have nothing to fear, for my Lord Christ has gone here